Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the IVES number FBPART.1013. This is a guide for a flush bolt is what it is, and you're generally going to see it installed, well, you either will see it this way because you'll have an inverted channel. You might see it installed this way as well if you had a flush top channel. It can be installed either way, of course. And let's just take some basic dimensional properties and we'll go from there. Overall length, about 1 inch and 13/16. Overall width, about 1 inch. Overall height, looks like it's about 5/8 of an inch. Okay, and comes with a couple of screws, a couple of flathead machine screws. I would say that these are probably 832 would be my guess. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm going to go with an 832. I'm not going to measure it. 832 doesn't really matter. Well, I suppose it does matter. Let me tell you what the diameter of the screw is. Yeah, that's a number 8. 0.183 is what that is. Okay. Now, why would you be looking at this part? Well, you need a guide. If you have, quite frankly, any type of flush bolt, you're going to need a guide in the door, regardless of it being manual, semi-automatic, automatic flush bolt for wood doors or for steel doors. You'll need, well, not for wood doors. You wouldn't need a guide really for that because they incorporate that with that L shape. But for hollow metal doors and whatnot, you'll need a guide. Why this client bought this? Hard to say. They bought the guide, they bought a strike, and then they bought mounting packages. So I'm thinking that they're reusing some flush bolts, or for whatever reason, they could be that there was damage, but the flush bolt body itself is perfectly fine and they need only these parts. Let's switch to the screen view and let's look at some supporting information. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here's the item that we are looking at, and we do indeed have some photographs that are here down below. There's the package. That's what's in the package, some sort of corrosion-resistant coating or plating over steel. Different perspective showing this. You'll note that it's countersunk on one side, and then on the other side it's countersunk as well. Again, you can install it in either orientation. And a couple of screws that are going to be included. Not much to see in the extended description except that it's used for the FB30 and FB series flush bolts. And it is considered the guide package. The question becomes is, what are those bolts? Well, we can take a look at that when we click on the link below this video here to the manufacturer's page. Be able to pull up that page and see all of the IVES products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the website and then the catalog. Let's open up the catalog. We're dealing with the FB30 and FB50. I don't recall the difference between the two. You know, you could have semi-automatic and automatic. Let's take a look. FB30. Bear with me. Right. Yeah, so it's the 30 and 50 series is what it is. So let's get down here and take a look. The FB30 series, these are going to be automatic flush bolts. You're going to need those guides for top and bottom of the door. Okay, an FB32 is a different derivative, having an auxiliary fire latch. Then your FB40s, you won't need that. You won't need it for those. That's for wood doors. FB50, these are what's called constant latching, where every time it's always latched. The top of the door is always latched. except that you can obviously pull that trigger down and pull it open, which is different from the FB30 series because the bottom bolt seen here would be part of the FB30, which means every time the active door is open, your inactive door is not bolted anymore. That may not be what you want. So that's what that's used for. And there you go. So since we're on the manufacturer's page, you've got the full line catalog here that we just opened. You can also take a look at some really old IVES catalogs. They did not make constant latching or automatic flush bolts 120 years ago, but we do have a couple of old catalogs there. IVES was known, and I think still is to perhaps some old timers, a company that still does make sash hardware. So locks and lifts for double hung windows. IVES didn't have a couple of choices. They had a catalog full of choices of this stuff. It's just the bottom line. Lots of door hardware, sash locks, sash locks, sash locks, sash locks, and it just goes on and on. One very interesting concept that they have here, one that I actually like a lot. Can't think of a manufacturer who is doing it, but when we two things. When we study this old page, you see this one sash lock. Let's just say that this is bell tip ornamental. Let's say it's a 500 series, whatever. 504 through 530. What's the difference? Well, the finish, the base material and the finish is the difference. So they use a different part number when the finish changes. Ornamental iron bronzed, you can also get it with a nickel-plated knob. So they go from a 504 to a 508. $2.50 for a dozen of those solid brass pieces of hardware. How'd you like a skid of those today? So that's an interesting thing that they used a different part number for every finish. That's not the case. This would be used on an FB31, let's say, this guide, and then you specify the finish, but it's always an FB31. And in fact, I think it's nice to be specific with a part number because it tells us the finish. It's also nice to not have to memorize 9 different part numbers for the same item. So this should be a 500 by finish would be my thing. Now, the reason that they probably did that is in the second part of what I'd like to say is a unified system for naming finishes did not exist till the early 1930s. There are no U.S. numbers here. There are no BHMA numbers here. So, well, so the question is, did you mean iron bronzed nickel-plated knob? Or did you mean iron bronzed bronze metal knob? Or did you mean with a number 1 finish or a iron bronzed bronze metal knob with a number 3 finish? You could order something, a 500 series sash lock, and then specify the finish incorrectly. But when you're using a different part number for every single finish, that does help. It compensates for the lack. It helps for eliminating mistakes, reducing them, but it compensates for the fact that it was no U.S. system in effect in 1896. So there you go. All right, let's wrap up this video on camera. History lesson over. Thank you. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. IVES is under the Allegiant umbrella, and IVES sister companies are going to be Schlage, LCN, Von Duprin, Zero, Glenn Johnson, Falcon, Dormatic, Monarch, others I can't think of. I'm sure of it. And what that means is there's going to be really good technical support over at IVES. Every time I call there, we get a good answer. There are times when it's not clear. There are times when the template, in 30 years, I think I have found 2 templates from IVES where the manufacturer said, thank you for bringing that to our attention. And there has been some other templates that didn't make any sense to me initially, so calling the factory allowed me to make sense of it. And they're really good. It's a culture of excellent technical service over there, whether you're speaking to IVES or Glenn Johnson or Von Duprin or Schlage. Just a culture of excellence. To them, for that, I say thank you. Any questions on the FB30 FB50 guide, which is their FB part number .1013, or any other IVES product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.